going on, everyone? My name is Jamon McKinney, or you can just call me Juice, because that is my nickname. I want to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers today. I've already kind of addressed them in the past. I made an episode in which I broke down how many games I believe the Steelers are going to win this upcoming season. I had them at 8-8. And nothing has changed up to this point, I want to make this episode dedicated to the Steelers. And I want to tell you guys why I believe Pittsburgh is not a playoff team and why they are one of the more overrated teams heading into the NFL season this upcoming year in 2020, okay? I understand the Steelers are going to have a good defense. I get that. Minka Fitzpatrick, that was a very good trade. He helped turn around their defense a lot this past year. You look at a guy like Devin Bush, who has a chance to be a star linebacker in the NFL one day, in my opinion. He's very, very good. He had a very good rookie season. You look at a guy like TJ Watt, who's been a sack machine over the last 2 seasons. TJ Watt is very, very good. The Pittsburgh Steelers have real players at every level of their defense. The defense last year was top 5 in points per game allowed. I don't have questions about the defense. My problem is the Pittsburgh Steelers offense is going to fail them this year. Pittsburgh is just not going to be dynamic enough offensively, in my opinion. I don't think that Steelers fans realize this. They can't get this through their head that this offense is going to fail this team. I want to list off the teams that were top 10 as far as points per game last season on offense. Number 1, the Ravens. Number 2, the Chiefs. Number 3, the 49ers. Number 4, Tampa. Number 5, New Orleans. Number 6, Dallas. Number 7, New England. Number 8, Tennessee. Number 9, Seattle. Number 10, LA Rams. Only 2 of those teams did not reach 9 wins this past year. Those 2 teams were the Buccaneers and the Cowboys. The Cowboys were kind of a mess as far as their coach goes. Dak Prescott, not a big believer in him. And then the Buccaneers, they were just plagued by Jameis Winston's turnovers last year. They should be better this year. But see, Pittsburgh last year was 27th as far as points per game. And while I do think Pittsburgh will definitely be a much improved offense this year because they're going to get better quarterback play from Ben Roethlisberger, I'm not so sure Ben Roethlisberger is going to be all that great this year. Listen, Ben Roethlisberger, Steelers fans keep telling me, well, Ben Roethlisberger threw for nearly over 5,000 yards the last time we saw him. He threw for over 5,000 yards. Yeah, guess what? Ben Roethlisberger, the last time we saw him in a full season, he led the NFL in interceptions. That's a fact. And he missed the playoffs. That's a fact, okay? And Ben Roethlisberger, you can't expect this guy to go out there and throw for 5,000 yards and over 30 touchdown passes once again because he doesn't have the same weapons he had at that time. Antonio Brown is not walking through that building, okay? Even though he's a nut, he's talented. Le'Veon Bell's not walking through that door anymore. These are not the same Pittsburgh Steelers weapons, okay? Before I get to the actual weapons, the last time we saw Ben on the field playing games last season, you know what Ben Roethlisberger was doing? He was completing 56.5% of his throws. He threw 0 touchdown passes. He had 1 interception and a 66 passer rating. Not great overall. Not great. And Ben Roethlisberger is now 38 years old, and he's coming off a major surgery. And keep this in mind. Ben Roethlisberger has only managed to play a full season 4 times out of his 16 years in the NFL. This guy stays injured. This guy stays playing around 75 to 80%, and this guy just can't stay healthy. And I think the injuries are going to add up to Ben Roethlisberger, especially now that he's at an older age. I don't know how Ben Roethlisberger is going to respond to getting hit this year. I don't know how many hits he can take at this point in his career because he's a much older player and he's been so banged up throughout his entire career. And also, his playing style warrants getting hit. Ben Roethlisberger will stay in the pocket and stand tall and take some extra hits. He will hold on to the football a little extra second or two to make those big plays. Is he about that life this year? Not so sure. So I don't have big expectations for Ben this year. I understand the Steelers were a mess at quarterback last year. I get it. Mason Rudolph, Doug Hodges, enough said. The Steelers last year got below average quarterback play. But this year, they're going to get average quarterback play because Ben Roethlisberger, He doesn't have the same weapons that he had in the past. Last time we saw him on the field, he wasn't that great. And now he's coming off major surgery. And I don't know how good he is going to be at age 38 years old coming off that injury, okay? And also, like I said, this offense is just overall not that explosive. Juju Smith-Schuster is barely a top 15 wide receiver at the moment. He might not even be a top 15 wide receiver. Last year, Juju had 552 yards receiving. And I get that you like Deontay Johnson. I like Deontay Johnson a lot too. But Deontay Johnson is not keeping defensive coordinators up at night. I'm sorry, he's just not. Okay, he's just not. He's not. Chase Claypool, liked him at Notre Dame. But is Chase Claypool ready to step in and become a dynamic wide receiver? I'm not so sure because he's a rookie wide receiver. And rookie wide receivers this year are not getting preseason games. And it's not been a normal offseason for them. So I don't have many expectations for Chase Claypool. And I don't know how great Ben Roethlisberger is going to be this year. So Claypool could be neutralized due to that. I look at a guy like Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron, sure he has some talent, but Eric Ebron has never reached 1,000 yards in a single season in his entire career. Well, do the Steelers have a good run game? Let's think about it. James Conner had a whopping 4 yards per carry last season. James Conner had a whopping 464 yards rushing last season. And he couldn't stay healthy. The Steelers are just not a special overall team. I don't see it. I don't think they're dynamic enough. They're good on defense, but they will fall short on offense. They don't have a dynamic running game. They no longer have a dynamic quarterback, in my opinion. They have above average weapons at best. I think the weapons are honestly average between their tight end core and wide receiver core compared to the teams in the AFC. And yeah, I just don't see it. I think that honestly, the Baltimore Ravens are going to easily win this division. I will not be shocked if Cleveland wins more games than Pittsburgh this year. Cleveland should be much better. They should be much more well coached. Baker Mayfield should have a bounce back season. They improved their tackle group, as far as their offensive line goes. And Cleveland on offense, on paper, just flat out has better players. So I'm not sold on Pittsburgh. Not sold on them at all this year. They're not a Super Contender. They're not a playoff team. And if they are a playoff team, they will be a wild card team that probably goes one and done in the playoffs. I'm just not sold on Pittsburgh. They're one of the most overrated teams in the entire NFL in 2020. And that's how I feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers this upcoming season. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.